Yes, she's ready. You ready, Nikki? 7:25, July, the Buckingham County Planning Commission is now in session.
Vice Chairman Steve Dorier, before we move forward, Chairman Johnny Bickford wishes to participate remotely this evening. The Planning Commission would need to approve this remote participation by way of a motion. The location from which Mr. Bickford is participating is at his home. This member participated through electronic communication means due to a temporary or medical condition that prevents his attendance this evening. The public body has written into their bylaws allowing for and governing participation of its members by electronic communication, that a quorum of the public body is physically assembled, and that the voice of the remote participant can be heard by all persons at the primary location. This member, our chairman, he did notify me, the zoning administrator, today that he would need to participate remotely. He actually notified me Friday, hoping for a better result from a medical condition that's preventing his physical appearance this evening. So if you would take a motion, after discussion on whether or not you will allow his virtual participation, that would be greatly appreciated.
Any discussion with the commissioners of Johnny participating from home on this virtually?
Would he be participating?
No, I don't.
I move we accept his petition to participate virtually.
Okay, I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Is Mr. Bickford online right now?
Yes.
Johnny,
Yes,
can you hear us?
Yeah, Steve, I hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we hear you. Hope you're feeling fine.
I appreciate. Yeah, doing fine. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the commission to let me participate offline like this. As we discussed earlier, in lieu of me not being there, I would like for you to take the meeting and conduct it in your capable hands.
Thank you, Johnny. We may call on you a few times, but we thank you for being with us tonight. The invocation will be led by Ashley Schumacher and the Pledge of Allegiance by J.D. Cruz. Please stand and bow for this.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for your traveling mercies as we all gather here tonight. We ask for your guidance and wisdom as we conduct business with our neighbors for our county tonight. We pray you keep our community safe and healthy in the days ahead, and especially as we all leave here this evening. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Need to establish a quorum. 6 of 8. We do have a quorum.
One on the phone.
Yeah, that's right, Johnny. 7 of 8. Okay. Adoption of the agenda.
So move.
Second.
We have a second for the agenda. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Approval of minutes. Any additions to the minutes or corrections?
Approving minutes.
Have a second? Second. We have approval and second for the approval of the minutes. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, thank you. Approved. Nikki, do we have any, how many comments do we have, public comments tonight?
Yes, sir, Mr. Vice Chairman. We have 19 individuals signed up to speak during public comment, and the first is Ivan Davis III.
Okay, Ivan? Please state your name and address.
Ivan Davis III, 903 Camden Street, Dillon. I just wanted to talk briefly about the special use permit being requested by the Atlantic Investment Corporation later on this evening. Last Planning Commission meeting, I didn't hear much from Mr. Lloyd concerning the traffic impact on his proposed housing development. I know he did talk about entry and exit roads from the development. Sorry, I lost my place. But not the overall increase in traffic. I see in his special use permit that he is saying that Maxey and Associates do not think a traffic impact study is necessary. Just looking at the application, I think it's around 116 proposed houses and townhomes combined. If we just want to be conservative and say every house has one car, which, most houses have more than one car, but just going with one car, that's 232 trips if you leave and come back in a day. You also have traffic from people visiting, people working on your houses, carpenters, cutting grass, coming to fix your TV, internet, all the stuff that people come to your house for. There's a lot more than you think. But even with multiple roads in and out, all of the traffic pretty much is going to the same place. You'll have traffic which will be routed up Main Street, which is actually through a residential area. You've got coming out to Route 2015 intersection, or out by the road that's going to go out towards the rescue squad. And this just seems like a big deal for the congestion that everybody here knows already takes place around the Route 2015 intersection. This is the most traffic-ridden place in the county, and this will be sending hundreds and more vehicles into that every day. So I would like the Planning Commission to really consider requesting a traffic engineering firm along with VDOT should take a look into this situation, do a traffic impact study. And secondly, the Planning Commission should consider requesting county staff to perform a capital impact study along with a cost of county services before considering this special use permit. The economic impacts to the county and taxpayers need to be fully understood, especially since the county and taxpayers are essentially the bank for the land on this housing development. When you go to the bank with a business idea, the bank wants insurance that the investment will pan out. So the taxpayers in Buckingham deserve insurance since it's their money on the line. That's all I got to say. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ivan.
Casey Davis.
Good evening, and thank you for this time to speak tonight. Casey Davis, 903 Camden Street, Dillon, Virginia. Thank you for your time again tonight. I strongly oppose this project, this housing development project, and I am concerned about giving this special use permit. I am very concerned about how this will impact county services, traffic, and the school system. There could be more students enrolled in the division than any other school year since 2011. If you want to know why enrollment is down, because the public schools did not allow general education students until about a year. We lost lots and lots of students that year. That's why the numbers are skewed. All signs that I have seen, numbers calculated, have been against and a negative image towards this project. There are many housing residents that still don't even know fully what's going on. This is a project that the developer has, quote, he's talked to a few people. Again, is that truly insurance for the county? This is also a project that, quote, is not for the citizens of Buckingham County. That statement speaks volumes. Supposedly, this is a project for people who want, quote, public sewer and public water. I highly doubt many people will commute 1 hour for that. I ask that this board do its due diligence to take and study every aspect of this project. In his words, in his application, the developer used words like speculative and unavailable when talking numbers. Please take your time in making a decision on one of the largest concerns this county has had. He is, quote, asking for a remedy with a joint meeting tonight between the board, well, not happening tonight, but a future meeting between the Board of Supervisors and Planning Commission. He did this in June, so it's not a new idea. It's not all of a sudden a remedy. Please do due process as you do every other citizen who comes and has a plan. Thank you for your time. But 1 minute, I have 41 seconds. He wrote in his application that Buckingham graduates frown upon what they don't have. And I am a proud graduate of Buckingham County. I am proud of what I have, and I hope we don't have this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ronald Duncan.
I'm Ronald Duncan. I live at 682 Allens Lake Road. I've been a county resident most all my life. But this is, and I'm talking about the Atlantic investment. I am against it. To me, too little is known. Seems to be trying to be pushed through too fast. And to me, it's too much risk for county government to be involved in. If people want to invest their personal money, if you'd like, that's fine. But please leave the county tax money out of this mystery deal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Ivan Davis Jr.
Hello, I'm Ivan Davis Jr. Everybody calls me Chip, of course. I live at 106 Whetstone Lane, Dillwyn, Virginia. I am president and primary owner in Whetstone Farm Properties, which lie joining to the proposed project that's been proposed by Atlantic investors. And I've been meeting with Mr. Lloyd and about possibility of some particular common interest that we'll have on this project, should it go through. Should it go through. Okay, with that, I urge the board to please use due process and diligence, look at all angles of this before you make a final decision. Rush to judge, you know, you can make mistakes. And I think maybe some little stumbling blocks have come up in this project already. So what I say is please take your time and do this and follow proper procedure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy Marchetti.
Good evening, Cindy Marchetti from 1049 Morgan's Hill Road, and I'm here tonight to speak against the proposed Knights Valley development. I live in Arvonia, and where Mr. Bickford is our planning and zoning representative, along with Dennis Davis, representative, who serves our district as an elected member of the Board of Supervisors. I emphasize serve because elected and appointed officials are supposed to serve the best interest of the people they represent. We clearly see on a national and global level what happens when the plan for, whoops, did I lose a page? I'm sorry. When elected officials put their desires and greed before the needs of the people. But in a rural community like Buckingham, we should stand for what is right for the people. Increased taxes and an inflationary failing economy will be one main impact, and I so appreciate Mr. Brickhill's and others in exposing the impact this project would have on the school system as well as tax increases. I see the infrastructure needed and requested proffers would end we would end up absorbing as another big reason to say no. When the plan for a subdivision was presented, but not as a housing for Buckingham residents, the antennas on my tinfoil hat started buzzing. What is the real agenda here? What is the plan for filling empty townhomes? Maybe the federal government will swoop in to bail us out of debt for a price. Who would they have live there? The federal government has already bought out our educational system because we have been kept a poor county. Let's not give big and small government the chance to manipulate our county any further. Please do the right thing and vote no.
Thank you.
Eddie Slagle.
Mr. Vice Chairman, Commissioners, Supervisor Allen, Ms. Edmondson, my name is Eddie Slagle. I reside at 2331 Back Mountain Road, Dillon, Virginia. Just a few comments tonight, and hearing from 19 people, I'm sure you're going to get some repeats. But if this property was going to be sold, why wasn't it advertised, and the possibility of other developers coming in with a plan, presenting it that was more suitable and a definitive plan for this project? There is no definitive plan. And from what I understand, the reason for all of this is the county provided wrong information. So why change the protocol and set precedents in this joint meeting that they're requesting over a mistake by the county? Now this $15 million that they're talking about to add to the real estate base will basically net the county $78,000 in real estate taxes. And with y'all's figures, at $3,400 per student, that only means that 23 students will be covered, putting them into the school system. So as far as the impact statement, this project will impact the schools. If you have 100 kids come out of this project, you got $340,000 that it's going to cost the county to educate these students that are coming out of there. This project is not going to even touch taking care of students, much less everything else it's going to impact. And there also, there's been a threat of raising the real estate tax 17 cents. And they're talking about doing that to cover the cost of EMS. Well, 17 cents is not 17 pennies. That's 17 cents, which would be a 30% increase in real estate taxes. So to break it down into figures, if you're paying $1,000 now, if they go up 17 cents, you could be paying $1,300 a year in real estate taxes. And so the 17 cents, and they've said before, each penny is $147,000. That would actually bring it up to $2.5 million that it would increase by bringing it up 17 cents. But who wants their real estate taxes going up 17 cents? We're not Cumberland County, we're Buckingham County, so, and that's why most of us choose, other than by birth, decided to live in Buckingham instead of moving to Cumberland County.
Okay. Thank you.
Please, joint meeting, and please do before moving forward.
Thank you very much.
Jenny Spessard.
Good evening.
I'm Jenny Spessard. I live on Seven Islands Farm in Arvonia. I'm an associate broker at Monticello Country Realtors, and I might hold my license in Flavanna County, but most of my business is right here in Buckingham. I have sold businesses and residential properties for over 22 years, and in Buckingham and in surrounding counties. But my favorite clients have always been that first-time home buyer. I love a bargain, and I love to walk my clients through the process. I put my glasses on and see. I've heard that the developer wants to start this residential development in the $250,000 range. And this isn't very affordable for that first-time home buyer or many others in this county. If I felt this could benefit them, I might feel differently. As of late, there are about 11 properties that stay on the Charlottesville MLS listing sheet in this county. And a lot of them stay on the market for months because people, there's not much available anymore, but that's because people are worried about the interest rate, and they're worried about the economy, and this could hurt it. Because I've heard already that, I feel like it's not going to benefit our citizens, and it could even cost us, as the man just spoke, as a taxpayer. So therefore, I'm opposed to the Knights Valley subdivision.
Thank you.
Ruth Aldridge.
Hi, Ruth.
Good evening. I'm Ruth Ollinger Aldridge from 286 Hummingbird Road, District 6. I'm here to speak again about solar fields, farms, and industries, but more importantly, the one that will now be truly in my family's backyard, with the basic design to have a 50-foot buffer between our home. This is the same distance of the Buckingham County High School football field, half of it. I plead you to pause and do more research on how this will impact Buckingham County community members' health and well-being for now and in the future for the environment. As of October 2021, I had a water test via UVA Virginia Tech for the water quality of my drinking water, in which now, already, I have to filter my water. It has nothing to do with the solar field. It has to do with the quality of the water in my home. I filter my water because of a health issue. My question is, who's going to be responsible to ensure that my water is safe to drink? Who will pay for the testing? I paid out of pocket. What timeline will the testing be completed, and who's going to monitor it? When you drink water, do you worry about the quality of it and how it's going to affect your health? For my family to purchase water for a year this size, it's going to cost us out of budget over $1,500. Are you going to, as a community member, promise me that I'm going to drink good water and I'm not going to have health issues that are going to impact my life and my family's life and health insurance? Please do more research before casting any votes for any solar project, period. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth.
Daniel Brickhill.
My name is Daniel Brickhill, and I reside in District 4 at 192 Union Church Road. With the Knights Valley subdivision, it seems that speed has taken precedence over carefulness. This case should be suspended, not placed on a rocket docket, until proper inquiry is made about its impacts. There are three specific, simple types of inquiries that the county and the developer should have to present to the public before a hearing. First, the public should be able to see a legitimate traffic impact study. Second, there should be a written report backed up by facts and figures about the capital impacts of the subdivision, our school buildings, fire equipment, and sewer and wastewater facilities. Third, the taxpayers deserve written, well-researched evidence that the yearly costs of the subdivision will not exceed the tax revenue. Succinctly, before a public hearing is even scheduled, the public should be provided access to comprehensive research about the impact of the subdivision on the county's roads, facilities, and taxes. Reports on this information are quite feasible to produce. They just take time, at least 1 month to conduct the research, and ample time for the public to consume the research. There's at least one more potentially very important reason why the application should be delayed. That is to provide time to investigate whether an SUP would even legally allow the developer to proceed. I'm not an attorney, and I'm not providing legal advice yet. However, I have with me the Subdivision Ordinance of Buckingham County, which you can see right here, the Subdivision Ordinance of Buckingham County. In 1997, the Board of Supervisors was concerned about potential future impacts of subdivisions and decided to write an ordinance to govern them. I will read you what it says, and if I am allowed, I can provide copies to each one of you. The Subdivision Ordinance on page 13 has a section entitled Lot Size. It says, quote, "The subdivision of land into 4 or more lots may be classified in the following manners: creating lots of between 1/4 acre and 2.99 acres, rezone residential R2 or village center VC1. The ordinance goes on to break down all the different size lots, the numbers of lots, and list the requirements for rezoning for those types of subdivisions. The way I read this plainly is that if you subdivide land into 4 or more lots, like Knights Valley, and if you have 4 or more lots that are between 1/4 acre and 2.99 acres, like Knights Valley, then such a subdivision cannot be approved with a special use permit for NC1. The land must be rezoned to R2 or VC1. There could be legalese in the ordinance that complicates this. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not pretending to tell you exactly whether or not this ordinance applies. But I think the plain text is enough to at least cause the Planning Commission to suspend the current application until legal counsel for the county and the developer can explain why or why not this clear language applies or does not apply to the present subdivision. We should not proceed with any public hearing, much less a fast-tracked one, unless we are sure that the land actually doesn't need to be rezoned. Thank you, and I'll leave these.
Hey, what year was that ordinance updated?
2012 was the last time it was revised.
It's old. And another one come out in 18.
This is on the PDF of ordinances.
We'll look into that.
We'll look into it, get it better.
Hold up, Dave.
Exactly.
Mr. Vice Chairman, the next person is Teresa McManus.
I'm not taking up my 3 minutes by telling you my name and address. So, first off, you guys and the Board of Supervisors, you made a mistake. How many mistakes have you actually made? All right? I have a question for Ms. Shoemaker. You are my planning commission. How many doors have you knocked on? How many neighbors have you asked in our community if they want this development? How many of you have asked your constituents if they want this in their neighborhood? I have. Not one of my constituents or the people that I have met want this. You work for me, guys. You don't work for you. You don't work for the people who put you on the board either. Everybody has brought up the traffic analyst. I don't need that. The traffic analysis. Maxie did the traffic analysis for Mr. Lloyd. They are not qualified to do it. I checked on their qualifications. They are not qualified to do it. You need to get an independent, professional corporation to come in and do it. You need to have the traffic analysis, the capital impact study, and the cost differences. Mr. Lloyd needs to pay for them, not you. Those all need to be done. He claims, or you claim, it's going to bring $15 million revenue over the next 5 years. And Mr. Lloyd said it was probably $35 million. I'd like to know where those numbers came from. I expect to get an answer from where that money is coming from. Have you read the contract I have, page 4? I really like reading that at the end of the first year, if Mr. Lloyd has presented a detailed final development plan, including road, water, sewer, and other plans, a plan, he gets $30,000 of principal and interest due at the end of the first year, inasmuch the buyer shall have it canceled. That's your money. At the end of the second year, he doesn't have to have only a road put in, all right? And he has to have obtained water, sewer, sediment, erosion permits as required. And we give him another $30,000 and interest canceled. That's my tax money, ladies and gentlemen. You work for me. I do not give you permission to use my tax money so frivolently. Nobody here does. Do your due diligence. Do what is right for your constituents. Thank you. Yes.
Sarah Large.
Good evening. I'm Sarah Large. I reside at 3702 Trents Mill Road. I'm asking that you please do not support the special use permit on the Knights Valley subdivision on the account that the proper work has not been done by the county to see if this will even work. The Board of Supervisors has wanted to rush this process from the beginning and not do their proper work. Independent research done by members of the community, as expressed tonight, show that it will be a bad move, fiscally most importantly. It's time to dot the i's and cross the t's and it would be in the best interest of the county to slow down and bring in outside counsel, which was mentioned tonight already, that has experience with this kind of development. I'm asking that you please don't support this special use permit or the idea of a joint meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kenda Hahnemann.
Good evening. Kenda Hahnemann at 247 Rama Lane in District 5. I'd like to start with an invitation to everyone. The State Agency Committee on Studying the Gold Mine, House Bill 2213, which Chairman Supervisor Jordan Miles and myself are on, will have a public listening session at the community center, which is at the library, a week from Wednesday at 6 p.m. They're looking for input from the community on how gold mining here would impact. I hope many of you will attend. I'm questioning the number of SUPs I've been seeing coming before the administration. A special use permit, I assume, means that it's not in our comprehensive plan, so you have to do a special allowance for it. I'm wondering how you plan to do things for the community if it's not in our agreement with what we'd like to see developed in the county. I think it might be time for an update on the comprehensive plan from the community so that you know what we really want here. I'm wondering about the Pineside having another industrial scale solar, being so close to Riverstone, basically the same neighborhood. That seems like really taking advantage of that community. The other thing I will complain about is that when we had COVID protocols, it was really welcoming for people to be able to make their public comments. We could leave phone messages that were heard at the meetings. We could send emails that were read at the meetings. We didn't have to be in the building. And right now, COVID is surging. Buckingham in the last 2 weeks has gone up 15% in cases. I know there are probably people you're close to or who are suffering with COVID at the moment. So, I wear my mask when I can. I don't see many masks here tonight, so maybe I'm the only one who's really concerned, but I hope you'll look at the numbers and protect the county, protect our health. Thank you.
Thank you.
Heidi Berteau.
Good evening. My name is Heidi Divya Bertu, and I live in the James River District 5. I know you have a lot on your plate, and I'm grateful that you are here because being a public servant is an important responsibility. Thank you. I signed a petition along with many other concerned citizens asking the Buckingham County Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors to vote no and refuse Dominion Energy's Pineside Solar application. I'm here to ask you in person. May I also take a moment to ask to please reinstate public comment for the record via phone, email, and mail. The pandemic is not over. As you heard, it's surging. Gas prices are high, driving distances are far, and many want to contribute to the public welfare. This would indicate to us that you truly want to hear from us. Back to the industrial solar project. I acknowledge that we are in a climate crisis, but the fossil fuel companies knew about the impacts of carbon and methane emissions back in the 70s and covered it up. Their drive for profits is costing us all dearly. Now they want us to hurry up and create renewable energy without looking at the impacts again. It doesn't take much observation to see the extreme harms of huge projects that would profit the industry and gouge the local community, and all the downstream communities on the receiving end of the massive erosion and sedimentation from over 2,200 bulldozed acres. And that's just talking about the pine side. Please get a protective ordinance in place before taking on one more project. There are so many important questions to be asked. A quick Google search shows that 66% of the primary energy used to create electricity is wasted by the time the electricity arrives at the customer meter. A lot of that has to do with how far the source of the energy is from the consumer. We know that the Riverside Solar Project energy will not be used in the county. This would be an extractive industry and not so much regenerative. With community solar, the energy is consumed locally and not shipped across the state, minimizing energy loss. Many small installations would require intentional planning and coordination by local governments, not huge industry. I know that's a lot to take on, but the trade-offs are huge, and we give up our power when we give it away to industry. Decentralization of energy would be safer for our very insecure, fragile, massive power grid. There's a lot to think about. Others will spell out other woes of industrial solar. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Donald Dorier.
Donald Dorier, 14546 South Constitution Road, Scottsville, Virginia. I thank y'all for your time. I've talked last time at the Planning Commission about the Pansall solar system coming in. I kind of find it hard to believe that we would even consider doing another major, and I mean major, solar farm without even the first one getting off the ground. So I think we'll start off with just a few things that we do know so far. If this project right here is approved, that will be a total of 6.6 square miles of solar farm land in the northern part of Buckingham County. I mean, Buckingham County, the northern end, we're not a dump area for everybody else. I can tell you that right now. The power generated from this solar farm will be like Riverstone. It will be shipped over here. Buckingham won't get any of that power. There's 99 adjoining landowners that will be affected by this. This is things that we do know. And there are potential problems and value losses should be our problems also. So we need to consider those people, the problems they're going to have. We know also that this thing is 74.9 megawatts. Now 75 megawatts, we got a different criteria to go by. So we're just under that threshold, 74.9. Somewhere along the line, that ought to raise a red flag to everybody that, hey, something's going on here. Now, and Buckingham right now, as today still, does not have a solar ordinance or a policy or guidelines to go by. Now, these are things now that we don't know. We don't know about the erosion problems we're going to have. In a little while, when Pinesall from Dominion shows our presentation, you'll watch those pictures. You'll have pictures of a lot of water. These waters are going to also run into the Riverstone project also. The air quality of debris, noise problems, trenching, clearing, dozing, 7 days a week. Yes, okay, they said, yeah, we'll do the post 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, but the regular the dozing, the trenching, the clearing, and the burning, 7 days a week. traffic problems. That's going to be the big one now. The traffic problems, we're going to have tractor trailers and we're going to have dump trucks on these roads. And these things right here are going to be a major concern. They send 170 workers, and when they start doing the panel installations, it's going to be 300 workers. Now, those 300 workers are just not going to fall out the sky. They got to have transportation to get in there. Now, the big problem is going to come in is what is the time frame of the Riverstone project? We don't know really when it's going to start. We really don't know when it's going to end. So now here comes Pine Saw, and you can take them two and put them together. They can overlap each other, so you got both jobs running simultaneously at the same time. So that's what we need to think about. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Don.
Donald Mosley.
I'm Donald Mosley, 450 Willow Lake Road. I don't know what the hell district I'm in now. I didn't move, but they moved my district, so I don't remember which number it is. But at any rate, I'm here to speak about the this proposed subdivision ordinance and stuff. And I'd like to say that I have a lot of experience with surplus real estate being disposed of. Sometimes it has been state property going to other state entities, universities and stuff. Sometimes it has been public property, government property being given to or sold to, always in a bidding process where there was a fair competition mandatory in order to do this. And this comes from the original Secretary of Interior Teapot Dome scandal. They didn't have any bid there. The guy took a $50,000 cash bribe in the room I used to work in, and of course they went to jail, and that was the end of the Harding administration. So it's important that when any government entity disposes of real estate, they follow proper procedure, and there's a fair and open bidding process. Then also, I'd like to talk about the need for a special permit in the case of this development. There shouldn't be one. The property is zoned today for an industrial park. Now to turn around and say, well, we can't, nobody wanted it. What we should do is just sell it to anybody on some sweetheart deal, and the county will pay for it. Doesn't make any damn sense at all. I don't think it makes sense. For instance, I wouldn't think that you, as on the committee here, would, for instance, entertain something that says, well, our high school football field is zoned as a high school, but we think we ought to rezone the center of it or give a special use permit and build a house in the middle of it. Doesn't make any sense. And this doesn't make any sense either, to come up with special zoning or special whatever it's, they don't want it to zone it now. They want to go back on what has been precedent and sitting there. This property has sat there for years waiting for somebody to use it for industrial development. Now we have a special permit. Okay, let's put a school in there. Kind of fits in with the real estate and stuff. No problem. Okay? In this case, to suddenly just give it, sell it, or whatever to a private developer, that has nothing to do with industrial development.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brian Davis.
Brian Davis, 10035 West James Anderson Highway. Out to you
I want to back up just a little bit and ask you, as the commission, to table the new business request you're about to hear about at Atlantic Investment Corporation for a special use permit. It's only come to light in the past few days that the understanding of our current zoning was incorrect, and the special use permit it seems to be the remedy now. My question is, like a lot of others, why are we in such a hurry to fast track this? Who stands to gain from that? I can tell you that the gain's not for the taxpayers of this county, and we're all one of those. I've witnessed how other local business owners, such as the Amish, have asked for a special use permit only to be pushed to a later meeting or delayed, so there's more time for reflection, more fact-finding and VDOT studies, and I ask that this project just to be treated the same, be fair to everybody. I understand that you can see from the crowd that as more residents of the county find out the details of this, they have legitimate questions and concerns, and that's what we're all here for. Nothing important goes fast. I would assume you took your time when you figured out who you wanted to marry. Permanent decisions are best when it's prudent and slow. But to speak briefly about bonding, if the commission does proceed at some point to move forward with this project, I ask that the taxpayers be protected by an erosion and sediment bond or a letter of credit from a bank. This can easily be made a condition of a special use permit. An E&S bond would give us, the residents and taxpayers of this county, a guarantee that regardless of the success or failure of Mr. Lloyd and his subdivision, we will not have to foot the bill for cleaning up the disturbed land. I would suggest that the county, lacking its own engineering office, hire a firm such as Hurt and Profit to create an estimate for the bond and pass this cost along to the developer. The bond or a letter of credit would give us the assurance that if the developer were to abandon the project, we would have financial recourse to restore the land and make our county whole again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Diane Gilliland.
My name is Diane Gilliland. I'm at 392 Quarter Lane. I really can't add anything to what everybody else has said here other than no. Like crack, just say no. The Atlantic Group, all I can say is snake in the grass, a thief in the night, somebody coming in to rob you. Take what doesn't belong to them. It belongs to us. We are the county. We are the county. Don't steal it. Don't take it from us. Don't add insult to injury, please.
Thank you.
Wes Saxon.
Hi, Wes.
Good evening. Wes Saxon. I live at 13265 across the road. I don't know how much you all paid, but you aren't paid enough. To have a 600-page document for tonight is ridiculous, especially for what you're having to deal with. And also, a clock needs to be up here where speakers can see the time. I am against the special use permit. Why it's out this way, I don't know. Other speakers have touched on that also. Deny it or at least table it. The land for the industrial park was purchased in 92 and 93, and some development was done. Now it's being sold at below market value. Why do away with the industrial park? It sends two messages out to people. One, we don't want industry in the county. Industry will give us more income with less money out of our pockets. The taxpayers will receive more, a better benefit. Two, your jobs are going to be a heck of a lot harder if we have no industry and no industrial park. That means it's wide open for going for special use permits all over the county. We don't need it. Apparently, a special use permit is being sought for the property. At least require a traffic study. Why? The area is already congested. There are wrecks there. month or so ago, we couldn't get to the bank on a Friday afternoon trying to get stuff done because of a wreck on 15. That is, at least it used to be, the highest traveled road in the 3 counties, according to VDOT. Maybe that's changed, but it's still very, very high. The road, Wingo Road, and the road going down into Dillon by between Dollar General and Farmers, that's not even eligible for a middle line, I don't believe. So why would you say that you don't need to have a traffic study? Also realize that an economic impact study needs to be developed and done by somebody outside of the county staff. We need to know what we're getting into. They're saying we'll get money back to lower our taxes, and other people are saying we're going to pay a whole lot more. We need experts, certified, recognized experts to address that. Finally, Augusta County had a place like this zoned. They sold it to Amazon and were very, very happy. We have existing places for homes in the county that aren't being utilized. What is the difference in this presentation, this proposal, and what's already there? There's got to be some difference for it to make sense, and I haven't heard it. Thank you.
Thank you.
David Ball.
Good evening, David Ball, District 3. First off, I think I'll start with a little good news, since we hear a lot of negative, and that is at Curdsville this next Monday, a week from today. We're going to have our regular monthly meeting, and we're planning a program that's going to be something on the Civil War history. And it sounds like we got a Civil War brewing here. And then the following Saturday, we'll be having a program. It's a fundraising program for our community center as well as for 2 scout troops here in the county. So we'll be raising some money to help them out and to help the community center. Now that aside, one of the things that I just found out tonight from the esteemed developer of this Atlantic development project, investment project, is that he lives in Fairfax. Wow, lives in Fairfax. He doesn't live here. So whatever happens as a result of that development rests with us, not him. And I can tell you that in Fairfax, I worked for VDOT in Northern Virginia, so I did a lot of work with highways. And then I worked with Fairfax County, and my job dealt with every project in my area that started with a pre-bond construction meeting and went all the way through to bond release, including signing occupancies. And if you think that people with money are going to come down here and live in a subdivision of low-cost houses, where they're coming from homes that are going to cost 3 or 4 times that? No. The people who are coming here with money are buying large pieces of property, like you, Peter. They want land. They want to have privacy. They don't want to have people sitting right on top of them. Over 15 years ago, I said that the property on Wingo Road next to the rescue squad was a perfect location for an emergency hospital, for injuries and treatment of the elderly here in the county so that they could get immediate emergency treatment before determining where to send them after that. I was told back then by people on the board, oh, that'll never happen. We don't need that here. There's someplace else to take them. Well, the fact is, people with houses that will come and live in these subdivisions are going to be the people who, if you go to a study that was published in the Seaville newspaper back in, I think, 1919, it said that.
Thank you. Thank you.
There are no other speakers signed up.
Okay. We'll close
Not for public comment. We have 2 sheets for public comment.
close public comment at this time.
And the solar one. The solar for Dominion.
Okay.
Troy
We'll get
Herndon,
you.
you're under solar, not on public comment.
Okay, old business, Nikki?
There's no public hearing for Dominion. This is 313 is Yoder.
I don't see why we can't let the man speak. I just like to be acknowledged that I wasn't clear what I signed up for. That doesn't seem like it's my problem. I walked up to her, she said.
Hold on a minute, you'll get it straight.
Who is it?
What happened? That's not my problem. That lady was there when I was signing up. I said, I'm signing up. I am. People said sign up. Hey, well, that ain't my problem. It said sign up to speak. I signed up to speak.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Red Walker.
You're signed up under the public hearings sign-up sheet for Miss Winslow and Northern.
Yes, sir, it will
That happens
happen.
later in the meeting.
Will I be allowed to speak?
Of course you
Yes, sir.
are.
Okay, well, you just said.
No, this is a different one. This is different. For each case, we have public comment. That's fine.
Do you want to do that? Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, the clerk to the Planning Commission did find 2 other signatures for public comment. Those are Nelson Bailey and Alan Troy Herndon.
I'll have to reopen
They're-
that.
Well, it wasn't a public hearing for public comment. It's just our public commentary period on the first part of the agenda.
Okay, so they will be able to speak now?
That's up to you.
Okay,
Mr. Vice
yes,
Chairman.
whichever, who was the first one?
Nelson Bailey.
Mr. Bailey? Johnny, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm listening to see.
Okay, if you have any comments, let me know.
Good
I
evening.
will do.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey.
Thank you. You're my district representative, Nelson Bailey, 1,999 Manio Road. And thank you, my neighbors, for allowing me to speak. I went to the county website the other day, and I found Danny Allen's phone number for the Planning Commission and several members' email, of which one came back as a mailer demon. Now, I hear people say, people call me. I don't have your phone number. How can I call you? And the same with the Board of Supervisors. Nobody has a phone number. Why? Okay, you're supposed to be a body that is governed by the citizens, and the citizens want to talk to you. But who's listening? The other thing is, I'm against the subdivision. I think there's a possibility of wetlands there or repairing buffers that may be violated. I am also against the solar. I think we got more solar than we know what to do with. High Rock Road has already been fined for solar bad dealings. That was the first one in the county. So, with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Who else do we have, Nikki?
Alan T. Herndon.
Mr. Herndon? Hi, Troy. Okay.
Thank y'all for listening to me. I'm gonna give y'all this piece of paper right here.
All right.
I'm a contractor. I live at 501 Bridgeport Road. If you look on this piece of paper, you see them two X's right there. They are not on the print. That's where I either live or I lease land on both sides of the solar project. You know, that bad enough that they're gonna put it down there on Bridgeport down below, the first one that they may let go through. But has anybody took consideration the soil runoff or what these things do? I've been out in the desert when my mama lived in New Mexico. They're on a desert floor. It's flat. Rain goes right through it. You ain't gotta grow no grass in the desert, right? We got hillsides here. All these hillsides, you go down 60 and look over in the left-hand side or the right-hand side and see if the washing's doing any good. What happened to save the Chesapeake Bay? I think we ought to get them involved because it was millions upon millions of dollars spent saving the Chesapeake Bay on streams that go into James River. All right, the streams that go into James River, you know where they want to start right here at Ollie's store, at that map? That starts and goes all with James River, goes right through my backyard, 2 ponds, and it picks up all the water there. Now you're gonna go to the right-hand side of Bridgeport Road, and you're gonna dump everything into Sharps Creek. Anybody know where Sharps Creek's at? All right, they're gonna dump it, and it's gonna go straight down to the Slate River. It's gonna take a left. The Slate River's still beautiful. I finally went on the first time after being in Buckingham for 22 years. I finally went on it. It's clean. Well, I can tell y'all, anybody that's got anything to do with the Dominion power, I'll be living on both sides of you. I'll be all around you. I'll be watching what you're doing. Mr. Pickens, people might know Mr. Pickens as well. He's a good friend of mine. We're gonna be watching around, looking around. We even got drones. There's no ordinance in this county for drones, I don't think. So we'll be flying them around if they decide to do this. And that's what kind of person I am. I'll be right there looking at them, watching them all the time, okay? And like I said, I'm a man that walks miles a day. I just walked through this woods this morning, just where you're gonna put down through here and dump all that into that. So I think we ought to get 29 News involved. That's what I'm gonna probably do next. Get a news agent involved, and then I'm gonna go battle Dominion if I have to. I don't got a lot of money, but I got some money. And we're gonna do what we can do to make it hard on these people, because that's supposed to be, the zoning people said, that's the biggest zoning area for residential. I'm a contractor. I've built 25 houses down there since I moved in the county, and I continue to build houses. But if we put solar fields everywhere, what are we gonna do with them when they go bad and we can't put houses there no more? Where is all the animals gonna go? And where is all the soil runoff gonna go? Don't nobody know that. Has anybody done catch ponds? I'd like to see catch ponds basins. I'm a contractor. They're on us all the time. SWAPP. They're on us all the time on a job. 500 square feet, bam, they're right on top of you. Get a ditch. You got to get that stopped. You can't have sediment running down that road. You can't put mud in that road. Guess what? It's getting ready to be mud putting all in them streams. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. Is anybody else, Nikki?
No, sir.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the old business.
The first case this evening under old business is case 22 SUP 304. This is John Yoder, landowner and applicant, of course, at 2750 Branson Road, Dillon, Virginia, tax map 65, parcel 13. It has about 154 acres. The applicant wishes to obtain a special use permit for the purpose of operating a sawmill. This case was introduced in April. His hearing was held last month, and it was tabled pending more information from VDOT. I have handed you a response from Steve Snell, the Assistant Resident Engineer for the VDOT office, and his comment is included. It just states that 27 a week is 1%. Not 27 vehicles per day. Even if he does have 50 vehicles per week, it is nothing to worry about. That's what I quote for Steve Snell's email comment regarding your question, one of your questions from last month. Mr. Yoder is here with his engineer, Andy Klepak, with Hurt and Profit. They'll be available to answer any further questions.
Mr. Yoder, will you come forward, please? See.
Good evening.
How you like? State your name for us and address.
Yeah, John Yoder, currently living at 541 Allen's Lake Road, Dillon.
Does any of the commissioners have any questions?
Mr. Yoder, I was out your place. I saw the driveway. There's a new house being being built right there, is that where you intend to have your sawmill as well?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, you understand that you're in the middle of a neighborhood there? I mean, you got houses to the left of your property and to the right, and there are people that have been there for 40 and 50 years, and that they're about to be inconvenienced significantly?
I do realize that, yeah, I mean, I do realize there's neighbors there.
Have you spoken to them?
Yes,
You have spoken to them.
I did.
What was the attitude toward what you had to say?
Some were a little leery about it. There's at least one or two that are really opposed to it. We got together last week. Mr. Chambers got some of them together, talking about it. I think I got the feeling that most of them were okay with it once they found out, this isn't a big operation like rock lumber. It's myself, family working there, very small, minimal. Sawmill, the proposed area where, I mean, you can see it on your packet there where it is. There are pine trees all around. None of the neighbors can even see the area where the sawmill will.
I realize that. I was in that driveway, and I drove up just a ways, and I saw where your house was being built. And I think you're a respectable distance back. I have no issues with that. My question is, the people that live across the street from you and the ones on either side, they were here the last meeting, and they had some significant concerns. And they had some significant concerns. So the question is, have you sat down and talked with these people? And if you did, are you resolved that you're not going to be disturbing them? I mean, people who've been there for 40 and 50 years aren't likely to move because you just brought an operation in that's going to really create some disturbances there. You understand that?
I do.
Those are my comments, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else?
I'd like to ask, are you the resident that lives directly across the street? All right, thank you. All right.
Okay. Well, we do have the impact report back from Steve Snell from VDOT. According to that, he does not have a problem with that, with the traffic impact part. I guess what we're asking now is what we want to do. Do we want to pass this on to the, we need a public hearing for this?
His public hearing was held last month. So
Okay.
now, and you tabled it to this month.
So my question.
I also have, my engineer is also here. He drew up the site plan. I mean, if anybody has any questions about it, as far as buffers and so forth, he's right here. He can talk about it.
Yeah, that's what VDOT says, that you have to have a commercial entrance, but you gotta have an engineer that's already got it lined up.
Yeah, that's the engineer.
He's already lined it up. He said he already has. Where is he at?
He's back here.
So you've already done the road, driveway, and all you're doing is waiting for approval before you can do any further, okay?
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to postpone that. We can't do that in the meeting, okay? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Steve?
Yes, Johnny?
If you remember, at the last meeting, I asked Mr. Yoder, and he was willing to put up a privacy fence in the front of the sawmill to help obscure the vision of the residents that live across the road. And I would like for that, I'm sure he's still in agreement to do that, to help try to eliminate the view of the sawmill, even though it's 800 or 900 feet off the road. One other thing that the residents can do now that the traffic statement came back is a suggestion is they can petition the state police to put a speed limit on the road in both directions, maybe a half a mile to the west, a half a mile to the east. It's not a perfect solution, but it would help. But that is under the priority of the state police. But they can petition them to get the speed limit dropped or reduced.
Okay, thank you, Johnny. You have anything else?
Now, that's all I had. I just wanted to
Okay.
make sure about the privacy fence, that became one of the conditions.
So that is a condition that you would probably take care of, right? You've agreed to take care of it?
I can put up a privacy fence to whatever it takes, but like I said, there's already buffers there, trees, but I'm here to do whatever it takes.
This would only be something just in the front of the sawmill to try to block the direct view down the road to the sawmill. It won't impede your traffic, but just try to obscure the sawmill.
Chairman, I have a real issue with this, all right? You've got people that have been on that road for a long time. They're not likely to move. They went there and they were not burdened with any kind of a problem where they had to even look at a sawmill or worry about the trucks. Have a new resident. He wants to put a sawmill up. He's in the middle of a neighborhood. You're not out there a mile away from any house. You're across the street from people who've lived there for 40 years. And they're not inclined to move. You're the newcomer. They're not. I have a real difficult time understanding it's not just it's not just the privacy fence that they're worried about. I don't think they care if they put in fact, if I had a house across from me that put up a privacy fence, I would consider it pretty offensive. All right? So my point being that it's inconveniencing the people that are around you. That's my issue. And I don't know that these people are satisfied that there's been any conversation.
I've also been invited to come move to the neighborhood by other neighbors with a sawmill. So.
Any other commissioners have a comment?
Well, you said you're good with the fence at the top, man.
I agree with whatever it takes.
So we've already had their public hearing, so, and the VDOT says they're good with it as long as the engineer's done their part, and he said he's done his part, so. My part is to say, let's move it on, approve it, and send it on to the board.
Okay, I have a motion to approve and move to the Board of Supervisors. Do I have a second? I have a second. All in favor that we move this on to the Board of Supervisors, please signify by the raising of your right hand. Johnny?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, thank you. All opposed? 2 opposed. It is passed. It will move to the Board of Supervisors. Next case, Nikki.
The next case is 22 SUP 313. Landowners are Freddie Snoddy at 13664 South Constitution Route, Scottsville. Lester and Cynthia Lacey, 12782 South Constitution Route, Scottsville, and a Warehouser Company out of Seattle. The applicant is Virginia Electric and Power Company, doing business as Dominion Energy. This is the Pineside Solar Facility. There are a few parcels in this property information. Tax map 16, parcel 81 with just over 93 acres. Tax map 26, parcel 67, 157 acres. These are the Marshall Magisterial District. Tax map 26, parcel 72 with over 315 acres. Tax map 26, parcel 75 containing 1,430 acres. Tax map 38, parcel 74 with 15 acres. Tax map 26, parcels 26 containing 49.08. Tax map 38, parcel 70 with just over 63 acres. tax map 26, parcel 73, containing 49.47 acres, tax map 26, parcel 7, lot 6, with 64.27 acres, tax map 26, parcel 7, lot 7, containing 2.93 acres. Those are all in the Slate River magisterial districts. The parcels are north of Bridgeport, east of 20, west of Hardware, Slate River. This is an A1 agricultural district. The applicant wishes to obtain a special use permit to allow for the construction and operation of a 74.9 megawatt utility scale solar facility on approximately 2,276 acres in Buckingham. The applicant, this case was actually introduced last month, June 27th. The applicant's original request is asking the Planning Commission to hold a joint public hearing with the Board of Supervisors. This case was tabled. Would it be the wishes of the Planning Commission to hold a joint public hearing? The applicants are here to discuss this case and answer questions and concerns.
Okay. Could you come forward, please? I think we do have a lot of questions here. What the intent is, and as far as the project moving so fast, and I think it's a problem that we don't know. We don't have all the information that we need. My opinion, I'm just, Johnny may have some, and I think the other members here, we do have a problem with a lot more information that we need. So I'm going to open this up to the rest of the committee and see how they feel about it, and they have any questions. You have any questions over there, Pete?
I'd make a motion that we do not have a joint meeting. My recommendation is that we do not have, that we follow the process the way it should be processed.
Johnny, you have a comment on that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear for the applause what was said.
Could you repeat that, Pete?
What I said is that we follow the process the way we should and not have a joint meeting.
Okay, if that's the pleasure of the Planning Commission.
I second that.
Okay, I have a motion and second not to have the joint session with the supervisors. And when would this take place, something else take place, Nikki?
So that will be up to the wishes of the Planning Commission. The request from the applicant is a joint public hearing. If you choose not to do that, you have a couple of things on the table. You can move forward, if you choose to, with a public hearing solely for the Planning Commission. If you feel you have enough information, that would be. If you don't, you could do what you did last month and table it. This is strictly up to the Planning Commission to determine the next phase of this process.
I think it's a lot of unanswered questions that we have. As far as us and the public, you know, you see what they said tonight here. We really need to answer that. I guess what we've had the motion not to have this, so I guess what we'll vote on that, not to have the public hearing.
Not to have the joint public.
The joint public hearing. Okay, let's do that now then. All in favor of not having the joint public hearing, please signify by the raising of your hand. Johnny, how do you vote?
I agree.
Okay. That's all I can do at this time. We won't have the joint public hearing.
You can still have a single public hearing.
If we have it with the Planning Commission, another public hearing with us, just solely with us.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's do that.
Yes, sir.
Are we gonna be able to ask them some questions tonight, or?
We can, we can ask questions, yeah, I thought that's what they're here for, if we have any.
I want to go back to, Mr. Chairman, something that I read, Youngkin administration sets stricter runoff rules for solar farms. My understanding is that there have been significant problems with runoff. And I also understand, according to this one individual, that there's a glut. I'll use that term because that's the term that was used, that there's a glut of solar farms going up in Virginia. Now, I gotta tell you, there's nothing in our county that is an ordinance or a plan. We haven't done that. We haven't developed that. Yet we have a Riverstone. My understanding is that there are already problems in Riverstone. Now, I know that there are conditions, but my question to you is, fast-tracking this thing, is it because you want to get ahead of this December 2024 deadline date that will require you people to do something significantly greater in the area of soil erosion?
Good evening, this is Eric Fritz.
Just a second. You know, I got to tell you, we're trying to get some answers here. It doesn't help what you're doing back there. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, good evening. So Eric Fritz, I'm manager of development with Dominion. And no, that is not the reason that we are looking to fast track. And I think we welcome going to the single planning commission public hearing at the next round. And I think we're good with that. With respect to erosion and sediment control, to answer kind of your question on that, we are working with DEQ and the Duncan administration in following those new guidelines that are out. We are not trying to have this project not be subject to those potential regulations. We're also continuing to work with DEQ on creating more robust erosion and sediment control measures. And we've learned a lot from the years of working in the state on building solar. We have over 1,300 megawatts currently in operation. Some of the things that we're looking at and we're continuing to use as best practices that we've learned over these years of building these projects. So we're moving towards using things like double row silt fencing to reduce sediment runoff. We're using smaller basins versus larger basins to reduce the amount of individual flow coming off the project. And we're also revegetating sites much earlier. And those are all things that we've learned as we've built solar in Virginia.
I have questions with regard to the eventuality of you bringing the site down and burying the solar panels. My understanding under the conditions that you're not going to use cadmium. Are you going to use selenium?
I'm sorry, selenium?
In your component?
I am not aware. We're using, or would plan on using.
Are you using any kind of toxic heavy metals?
So we have, and we've actually been working within our environmental team and with the proper authorities to make sure that we're classifying the panels correctly of what we're using. In the conditions, you're correct. It's not.
That's a great answer, but it really didn't. What I need to understand is when these things are buried, that stuff bleeds. I mean, there were people here that were concerned about an underground pipeline. Sure. Which is my considered opinion, and I'm not the engineer here, would be a lot safer than cadmium or selenium bleeding in, selenium bleeding into the groundwater from the scrap that gets buried from a solar farm. So my concern with you is, I understand you're going to use cadmium. Are you using any toxic heavy metals?
So the panels that we were planning on using, some of them may have small hazardous materials, but we'll make sure that's classified. Some of these may have like lead connections on them, but we will make sure that those materials are classified and handle those on site. I will say that we are working towards, and most of our panels that we will use in the future will not contain hazardous materials.
And you understand that those people that are downstream from you are extremely concerned about the erosion, and we have experience with erosion already. Right, in other counties, I mean, there were some farms that were totally destroyed. I've had a conversation with a number of those people that are downstream from this site, and every one of them, to a person, are concerned about the erosion that may take place. Now, my understanding is, as well, you intend to have a number of holding ponds, but you've got 2 solar farms there, all right? So what about these are impenetrable surfaces, so quite frankly, how do you intend to handle that runoff? I mean, have you talked to those downstream stakeholders individually?
We held an open house. I can't say that we've.
That's not what I asked. I asked if you talked to those people that are concerned about having their farms ruined.
I don't believe we have talked specifically to those folks. I know that we talked to many folks at the open house about erosion and sediment control. We plan on using above and beyond what are the requirements for DEQ for erosion and sediment control plans, and we'll continue to learn and work with DEQ on the new regulations that will come out, and we'll be designing the projects accordingly. Felix.
Good evening, Felix Sarfo Tonka, External Affairs Manager with Dominion Energy. We've reached out and we've had some meetings with a lot of local community leaders, and I know I've reached out to you, sir, and we're more than welcome to have that conversation and make sure that we're engaging all the community members. So I know we had reached out and we've spoken to other Planning Commission members. Folks are feel free to contact us, and we're going to continue to reach out.
I'm not a downstream stakeholder, and I
Understand,
appreciate that,
sir.
but
Yes,
the
sir.
people that are downstream, we represent. And quite frankly, I think those are the people that have to be satisfied that their farms are not going to be ruined.
Yes, sir.
And that's one of the reasons I would like to see this thing slow track, not fast track, because quite frankly, I'm not convinced that they're convinced they're not going to be out of business after, what, 4 or 5 generations in business as farmers. You understand what I'm saying here?
Yes, sir.
The other question I'd ask you is with regard to these rotating panels, how high will they get vertically?
Yeah, thank you. They, and I'm gonna defer to one of my construction colleagues, Ian, on the height of the panels.
Hello, Ian Hartman. So nominally, the modules are roughly about 6 to 7 feet in length. They're mounted on tilt racks, so at full tilt, they typically will have a clearance of maybe 24 inches to grade. So nominally, it's about 9 feet. At some undulations of the topography, you know, there might be increased gap between the ground and the module. So nominally, between probably 9 and 12 feet, probably no more than 12 or 15 feet.
So completely vertical, they would
Extreme.
be 12 to 15 feet?
Yeah, they actually rotate to 60 degrees maximum.
Maximum 60 degrees, and then about 12 feet? I know your conditions say that you won't be greater than 17 feet, and the plantation you intend to put in there is, at maturity, is 20 feet?
Plantation?
Yeah, your buffer.
Oh, the buffer.
Right, the trees you intend to
Yes,
put in.
yes, yes. Well, in most cases, if there's existing pine, we'd utilize that as the buffer whenever possible.
Right.
So that could be, you know, whatever's in the buffer currently. That's typically, you know, loblolly pine, so it could.
And another question, and this has to do with UNESCO. I understand you deal with UNESCO. Did you sell something? Did you sell one of your solar farms to UNESCO?
I'm sorry,
Are they
sold?
involved in
UNESCO?
Yeah, UNESCO.
It's Sol UNESCO?
Yes.
We've not sold any projects to Sol UNESCO. We are working with them on a project in Charlotte County.
There's no, I guess what I'm saying is, does Dominion intend to sell any of these solar farms at some point in time?
No. These projects, the project that we proposed today is for the benefit of our customers here in Virginia. We intend on operating it for its 35-year operating life and supplying that electricity to our customers.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
Went back to what you was talking about, the sediment and erosion. They should have the same thing as the Riverstone. And we put in Riverstone that, you know, there's somebody's gonna be watching them all the time. And if they do have any sediment erosion and we see it and they don't take care of it, we have hired somebody else to fix it and then charge them back for it. That's one of the things that's in there. And anyway, and we do have a solar documentation that we have started on already.
You started it, have we?
Yeah. I'd like to add some more to it myself. But
I think we need some more time. And you have to understand, we just went through this a year ago, and I listened to 100 people say that they didn't want it. It still got passed. That's beyond me, but we need to look at this thing, critique it. If we have to put it off a few months or whatever we have to do, I think this board will agree with me that it's just a timing part of it. It's not your fault. I think you've got a good plan, but I think we need to back up. Buckingham County is taking a hit on the other end, on the north end. I mean, 2,000 acres at a time is a lot to ask of these people. And so that's what we're asking for. If we have another public hearing, we'll have more questions and you know, to invite you to come and the people will have more questions. Well, if we need to have a town hall meeting, or like we did before, that's fine, but it's just getting over our head. I think we're in over our head right now, so if we could get together and talk this over later. But Johnny, you have any comments on this?
No, I'm listening. I'm listening to you.
Okay. So right now, it will go to a public hearing. What will be that date, Nikki?
So, Mr. Vice Chairman, the last motion that was carried was not to hold a public hearing, a joint public hearing with the Board of Supervisors, August 22nd. That will be the next regular monthly Planning Commission meeting. What is the motion now? Are you tabling this case, or are you moving it forward to a hearing solely for the Planning Commission?
I'll make a motion.
Steve, if I may comment, you can always move this on to public hearing with just the Planning Commission, and that would be next month. It would be August. But you can, at that point, a decision doesn't have to be made by the Planning Commission. If in the public discussion, a lot of questions pop up that are unanswered, the Planning Commission has the ability to table it and for another month or a time period to get those answers to the questions. So I'll put that out to the commission that, it's not, because you do go to the public hearing doesn't mean you have to make the decision in August. It just depends on the factors that arise.
Okay. So we want to go ahead and keep the same, what we planned on doing. I think that's what we need to do, have a public hearing. That way we can, if we have questions, we can't answer them if we don't have a public hearing with the Planning Commission. So that's what we'll do, Nikki.
Okay, then we'll need someone to make a motion from the Planning Commission.
I'll make a motion that we have a public hearing next month in August with just the Planning Commission.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to make the public hearing next month with the Planning Commission solely, and we will vote on it, call for the vote. Everyone in favor, please raise your right hand. Johnny, how do you vote?
I agree.
Okay, good. Thank you. I'd like to ask for a recess for someone to speak to Jordan. Someone needs to come in and speak to you for a few minutes. Okay? We have a short recess, okay?
Me too. No.
Please quieten down. Thank everybody for your patience, and the purpose of the time that we took. The people are having trouble on YouTube hearing due to the comments. So I'm gonna have to ask you guys, please keep your comments down. The people on YouTube, Johnny cannot hear like he needs to, so I'm just asking. We've had our time to comment tonight, and every one of us are civil people. And please keep your comments down so we can go ahead with the meeting. So I'm gonna reconvene now for the rest of the session. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Vice Chairman. The next case on the agenda is case 22 ZMA 315. This is the case regarding a landowner, Buckingham County, and the applicant being Atlantic Investment Corporation and Ted Lloyd. This case was for a zoning map amendment to rezone from light industrial to VC1, which was Village Center 1, for the purpose of development, construction, and completion of the development plan that was submitted with that case. So in the last week and a half, it was determined after further review that this portion of the quote-unquote industrial park was actually rezoned to neighborhood commercial. And that is truly the zoning district that 13815 is currently zoned as. This change required or caused the zoning map amendment case to be invalid. Mr. Lloyd was notified. He did submit a special use permit application, which is later on the agenda as an introduction for single-family homes, a community center, and townhouses. In a neighborhood commercial district, these three things are only permitted by way of a special use permit. That public hearing, of course, was canceled.
Okay. Is he available for comment tonight?
He's available for comment. You may want him to come forward with the introduction of a special use permit case,
Okay.
which is under new business.
Go to the next one, yeah.
Should we do it now? Or
So the
wait?
next case is your public hearing.
No.
Okay, let's do that.
The next case is case 22 ZTA SUP 312. The landowners are Eric and Janet Winslow of 2599 Deer Run Road, Farmville. The applicant is Northern Manufacturing and Firearms Sales LLC, and it's Angela Winslow of the same address. Property information is tax map 208, parcel 1. It has 26.13 acres, and it is in the Curtisville Magisterial District. It's currently zoned A1. The applicant wishes to add a zoning text amendment for the purpose of manufacturing and sales of ammunition, firearms, and accessories, adding this to a list of special uses in an agricultural A1 zoning district and applying for a special use permit for this purpose. This case was introduced last month. The public hearing was voted to be held tonight. Ms. Winslow is here to discuss this. We do have 6 individuals signed up for the public hearing when you open that.
Okay. We want to have the people come forward?
Your applicant?
Yeah.
Sure.
Good. Ms. Winslow?
Angela Winslow, 2599 Deer Run Road, Farmville, Buckingham, of course.
Okay. Do you understand what we've asked of you at the last meeting, and you complying with everything that we had? Okay. Anyone have any questions on this? Anyone on the?
Mr. Chairman, I understand, I got a call from one of your neighbors who said basically that your driveway crosses over his land. Is that true?
It's an easement.
It's an easement, okay. All right, had you talked to him at all to make sure that?
I tried, and he was not at home. I know I've had a month, but I had time yesterday or Friday, I think it was, and I didn't catch him.
I mean, when I saw your property and I understand the business, it didn't, everything looked fine to me, and I understand that's an easement, so quite honestly, you're only gonna do most of your shipping through UPS, as far as I understand?
Right, or I'll take it to the shipping place myself.
All right, and basically, you're gonna be under contract, right, with the federal government and also police agencies
Correct.
That is essentially your customer base, correct?
Yes.
So you'll be taking your inventory in and shipping out via a UPS or FedEx,
Right.
something like that, and it'll be coming up that drive? All right, are you able, even though that easement is over someone else's land, to secure that entrance?
Yes. Yes, where my property starts, I have a gate that can be locked.
So you'll be beyond his property, you'll put the gate beyond his property?
It
but-
is.
Okay. Just as some advice, I really think you need to sit down and talk to Mr. Bolt.
I talked to him when I got here, but I will talk to him again, and I thank you for coming, whether he's for me or not.
Okay.
As long as you got an easement on it, you're all right anyway, I think. And I see that the state has already approved your driveway anyway.
Let me ask, Johnny, do you have any questions?
No, not at this time.
Okay, thank you. You can sit down.
Open the public hearing.
Okay, I'd like to open the public hearing.
Yes, sir. The first person signed up to speak is Nelson Bailey.
Nelson Bailey, 5th District, thank you again. At first glance, this SUP looks like any other rezoning SUP. But looking deeper and listening to the applicant's own words, the business is already doing business in the restrictive zone it is now in. My first blush is that the applicant is doing the same thing another neighbor did with his illegal sawmill. Same in my humble opinion. In the SUP for this applicant, there is no business license and no other professional licenses. Where is the paperwork? Where is it? You know, if you're gonna have a business, where's the business license? Where's the professional license? This business is involving hazardous material. Has anybody gone to school for hazardous material at all? Have they gone to school? In my career path, I carried notarized, raised seal documents all over the world because they would not accept fax copies. The Coast Guard. Okay, where are the raised seals? I want to see documents with signatures. I don't want to hear maybe, sometimes, anytime, perhaps. Let's get contracts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lauren Orange Jr.
Hello, Lauren Orange Jr., 2334 Deer Run Road. Never done this before, so forgive me if I make mistakes. But anyway, known the Winslows for a good little while. Always been quiet. People don't even know they're up on the hill. Miss Flowers kindly invited me to come to this meeting. And when she rose my eyebrow to the situation I wasn't aware of, I talked to the Winslows and had a few questions with them, and they said that, my main concern was, traffic, extra traffic, big trucks and everything. They said that the traffic would be, no more than the UPS and FedEx and themselves, which is what's there now. Was concerned about noise. They said that the noise would be less than a vacuum cleaner. They told me that my tractor cutting hay makes more noise. So I couldn't hold that against them. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Douglas Bolt.
Douglas Bolt, 2524 Deer Run Road, and usually I've done watched Andy Griffith and gone to sleep by now, so I guess what I want to say is I own the property on two sides of their property. And they do have a right-of-way across me, but that was put in there for a residence, and it's been there for years. And their house, my property, is 19 foot from the corner of their house. So I thought I'd tell you that, because they don't have the road frontage, as you were talking about VDOT. And they have to cross me, and I'm not sure what the liability would be for me if something happened on my right-of-way. I'm not sure about the property values either. If I want to sell some lots there or something, I'm not sure what that would be. I'm sure people with kids wouldn't want to buy lots near that place. I wouldn't have known anything about this if the Planning Commission and the administrator hadn't sent me a letter just in the last few days. Some of them said it was just going to be for ammunition, as they said, for the government. But when I read what the zoning administrator sent me, it says for the manufacturing and sales of ammunition, firearms, and accessories. Well, that's kind of like opening a can of worms. It don't really tell me a whole lot. What kind of gun is this thing going to be? Is it going to be a .22? What's the ammunition going to be? Accessories? What's accessories? Is that a gun strap or is that a full body armor? I don't know. None of these questions I know because I've just learned about it. So what I would say is I would vote no for this, and I would appreciate it if y'all would. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I just want to ask you one question, though. So have you already given her an easement on the land, or?
Well, that was there from years ago. I'd say it's been there for years.
So they do have the right of way, the right for the right of way.
They don't have road frontage themselves. They do have to cross me, even if it is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Marie Flowers.
Marie Flowers, 3rd District. First, I want to complain about the fact that there was no signs that indicated there was going to be a zoning hearing. I think that's disgraceful. Anyway, my reservation to this plan of manufacturing ammo, guns, and accessories at this location on Deer Run Road is because it's remote. The houses are fairly far apart. It's pretty rural there. Will the manufacturing be in a safe and secure building? If you remember, Milford Country Store was robbed twice of their guns. I would have thought that the store had all the security that was required. I don't know whether it was ever robbed when Don Matthews owned it. He didn't sell guns. Now you must realize that this location is public because of the announcements in the paper. The ammunition is for the U.S. military, is ordered by computer, right? Okay, I think you asked about that, and I didn't. One of my hearing aids is bad. Anyway, if guns are to be made, what kind of guns and accessories are to be made? Who will they be marketed to? Will they be computer sales? Is there a tracking for guns? Are there enough people to track and enforce the regulations? I know for the mass, I better go on here. Okay. Did anybody see the video? Probably not, that Jordan sent around from the Red Arrow Weapons Company. They blew up a car in Arvonia. Basically, I think this operation needs to be in a safer place, with more security, maybe in some sort of industrial area where they have security guards and fencing. I just don't think, because of the type, it's not a jelly factory. It's dealing with very, very serious things, and that is why I'm very much opposed to this and the way things are in the world these days.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David Ball.
Good evening, David Ball, District 3. Let's see, we're talking about manufacturing of firearms, and I do know that Millbrook has been robbed, I think now 3 times. We don't have enough deputies here in the county, and we don't have the state trooper coverage that we need to guarantee that the county is going to be safe. And the fact is, sometimes the information is easy to access through public domains online. So when criminals found out that Millbrook got a shipment of guns, they were there the next night to rob and steal those weapons. If you go to Walmart, you're not going to find very many guns or ammunition. And the fact is, ammunition is getting harder to find. But in reality, when you're working with black powder ammunition, that stuff with the powder has a very high flash point, so you really have to control the whole environment. And it really should be done in an industrial area. This is the perfect thing that should be in our industrial park, not a subdivision. This is an industrial manufacturing process. And if you look back on the deeds, you have to find out if that deed for the ingress egress was actually recorded. You don't know if it was recorded. It may have just been used because it was an old logging road. So you don't know if actually, between the owners, if that actually was recorded. So it may not be legitimate. And the other thing is, yeah, she's got government contracts that she's filling, but where's BATF? Have they been weighed in? Do they have have they given permission? Have they reviewed the criteria for this? I think the security fact of this becoming public makes it a high-value target, and that's a real concern for the whole community. It should be in an industrial park.
Thank you.
Fred Walker.
Fred Walker, 2207 South James Madison Highway, Farmville. We're about a mile down the road from the Millbrook store, and it's been robbed twice. We've been there about 10 years. My wife's family goes back generations, but we've been there about 10 years. It's been robbed twice, and you walk in the store, and the break-proof glass that's this thick is broken, and all the guns are gone. And it's a pretty creepy feeling to be living in the middle of nowhere on a farm, trying to make a living on a farm. Haven't figured that one out yet, but we're getting closer. But it's just really, really creepy. Where they're planning on doing their manufacturing is just another place out in the open, a nice farm. It's actually on the way to our favorite swimming hole down the Appomattox, just about a quarter mile from there. We drive by it, at least 3 times a week, especially with this heat. We go down that swimming hole about 3 times a week, and just knowing there's a place that has a ton of guns and knowing that there's a lot of people out there that are gonna break in and steal them just really creeps us out. We live in the middle of nowhere for a reason, and we don't wanna live in the middle of an industrial ammunition place. And I'm a gun owner. I keep a gun. I keep it for taking care of livestock and for hunting. I'm not opposed to guns. I just really feel like this is completely inappropriate for our neighborhood. And I love our neighborhood. I love my swimming hole. And it's just, I also really want to thank you. First, I want to apologize too, or second, still have a minute to apologize. I thought you weren't going to let me talk. I'm sorry I got all riled up about that, but I didn't realize that I had a chance to talk later, so I apologize for not understanding the process.
Okay.
But yeah, I really do appreciate it. I've learned a lot. I believe now that the subdivision's a bad idea. I talked to a lot of people about it. No subdivision, I'm down on that. I'm glad you slow-tracked everything on, with the other ones. I really appreciate that. It seems like you're really working your butts off, and I think you're doing a real good job. So thank you for your work.
Thank you.
There's no one else signed up to speak.
Okay.
You wanna get her up to answer some of them questions?
Yeah, I'd like, yeah, could you come back? The last time we met, we spoke of what type of firearms you would be manufacturing, and could you elaborate back on that? Maybe some people don't know what's going on with what type of guns and the caliber of guns. I think we talked about all this at the other hearing, but I need you to bring that back out again.
Basically, we'll be doing custom one-off. Eventually, it won't be anytime soon. And it'll be small caliber, maybe hunting rifles, that sort of thing, or shotguns, whatever. And there will be nothing kept at the location. No retail spot, any of that.
Did everyone hear her? Could you speak up?
Yes. I said we will not have a retail location. There will not be a lot of guns at the property. And when we do make guns, which will be a while, it will be like one-off custom. You make an order, we make it, we ship it. And of course, we'll have to go through the ATF for the background check and all that, which I've done in the past. And I would like to say I'm not in business right now. I have been before, but right now I'm not.
Will you have security or, you know?
I have security cameras, I have the gate that comes onto the property. And if I need real security, I can just park a car by my house because you can't get past it with a car there. So that's not a big deal.
Okay.
I think Pete's all that.
Explain to Mr. Ball the fact that you're not gonna be doing black powder loading?
Yes, it will not be black powder, it's smokeless powder, which is not explosive, it's just flammable. And I do have flammable cabinets and all of that to make sure that we do not have a problem with that.
Steve,
Yeah, Johnny?
would you ask her, being that she's going to have a government contract, what kind of federal guidelines or restrictions is she going to be operating under?
Basically, with ATF, you have to be a certain distance from the road, and I'm at least like 2 or 3 times that, 2.5 to 3 times the distance that I need to be. And they have no restrictions on ammunition. You have to have a license to manufacture, which I do. And you have restrictions on guns. Of course, you have to have a background check. And to sell, you have to record the serial number, the type, everything about the gun, when you sell it, and send it into the ATF.
Could you hear that, Johnny?
Yes, I did. Is she going to be manufacturing the guns or basically assembling the guns? Which one would be the greater percentage?
Well, probably, at first, we might buy some components to assemble and make some. Eventually, I'd like to make the whole thing.
Okay.
Okay.
And you are working
Thank you,
with.
Steve.
Okay, thank you, Johnny. And you are working, you have your permits and license, everything you need to go with and work with the ATF. That was one of my questions, because that was a question from.
Right.
It was a question from some of the
I
people.
do have LLCs registered with the state. I'm registered on SAM, which is the System Award Management for the federal government. I'm registered with SWAM. I'm registered with the SBA. So I have all those
Okay.
also.
We're small business woman owned.
Right. Micro also. Or SWAM is micro, sorry.
Anybody have any more questions?
Well, the only other thing is somebody said something about explosive in Alvonia. That was somebody shooting tannerite.
Ah.
It had nothing to do with her
I would do
making
that.
guns and bullets.
So we need to move on. We either need a motion to.
Close the public hearing.
Well, yeah, close public hearing, and need a motion to either send it to the Board of Supervisors or deny. So I'm if you guys will.
I make a motion, we move it on to the Board of Supervisors, approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, we move it to the Board of Supervisors, and second. All in favor of this, please raise your right hand. Johnny, how do you vote?
I agree.
Okay, thank you. You're approved.
Thank you all, and thank you, my neighbors, for coming.
Next case.
The next case is a public hearing for 22 ZTA SUP 314. This is Joel King as the landowner and applicant located at 5136 Slate River Mill Road. It's tax map 95 parcel 9. It contains approximately 66.79 acres. It's in the Maysville Magisterial District and it's zoned A1. The applicant wishes to obtain a special use permit for the purpose of operating a commercial repair shop and a zoning text amendment, adding a rental yard to, and a special use permit for these purposes. This case was introduced to you last month. Mr. King is here with you this evening to address questions and concerns, and there is no one signed up for the public hearing.
Okay, Mr. King? Can you come forward, please? You state your name and,
Joel King, 5136 Slate River Mill Road, Dillon.
okay. Could you enlighten us again of what you want to try to do so everyone will
My
know?
main goal is tractor repair. I will also do construction, forestry, and very limited automotive. It's just for neighbors. That's all I want to do. I don't want to do any automotive other than help my neighbors out. And the rental yard is, this point, I got 3 pieces of equipment that I'm renting out, so it's
Okay.
small at this point, but it may grow.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. King?
I might have missed it with the rental part. What was it? What was that you talking about, rental?
As far as,
What were you renting out?
I got a skid loader, mini excavator, and a stand-on skid loader at this point.
So you would just rent them out for use?
Yes.
That's what you're talking about, okay. I just want to make sure I didn't misunderstand it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I think you adhere to all of the rules and regulations in which we stated last meeting, and we don't have anyone else to speak. Do I have a motion to pass this on to the Board of Supervisors?
We had to open and close the public.
Oh, I
hearing
hadn't
first.
closed, we have closed the public hearing, I'm sorry. Okay. Do I have a motion on this?
I'd like to move that we, I move that we push this thing forward to the Board of Supervisors.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved to push to go to the Board of Supervisors, second. All in favor of this motion, please raise the right hand. Johnny?
I agree.
Thank you. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, new business.
Yes, sir. The next case is an introduction for 22 SUP 316. The landowner is Karen Wyko, and the applicant is Karen Wyko and David Wyko at 1904 Patty Road, Buckingham. Tax map 77, parcel 18 with just under 375 acres. It is located in the James River Magisterial District, and it's currently zoned A1. The applicant wishes to obtain a special use permit for the purpose of operating an Airbnb, bed and breakfast, campsites, and event center. Events to include but not limited to weddings, parties, celebrations, music events, concerts, film and photo shoots, yoga, horseback riding, water sports, auctions, fishing, dinner parties, cooking classes, wine tastings for up to 1,800. The applicant is asking the Planning Commission to schedule a public hearing for this request. Mr. Wyko, David Wyko, is here with us this evening to address questions and concerns, explain his project. Planning Commission.
Okay. Mr. Wyko, could you come forward, please?
Good evening, David Wyko, 1904 Patty Road, Buckingham.
Okay. Could you tell us what you've got planning and what you've got in the plans for this?
Certainly. Well, we came to Buckingham and purchased property in 1994 and have made our property into a real gem, real showpiece. It goes back a lot of names that are known in Buckingham, Carters, Pattersons, on, and we've taken that property, we've just really beautified it and made it our home, because we found that Buckingham is a special place, and the way we have our property right now set up is, like Nikki said, 375 acres, 10 acres on the initial property is a house from 1839 that we had a master Mennonite builder come in and redo and add on to, and the land's right. It's just begging for it. I mean, I've had 30 people ask me about, my God, you should have weddings here, because the way the property's set up on the initial house is set up on 10 acres of like meticulously groomed land with gazebos and pergolas and a 5 acre lake with another 8 acre lake on the other side of the property. So it just opens itself up to bring, some money into the Buckingham. That's what we strive to do with all of my workers and anybody that's ever worked on our house. We want to keep our money in Buckingham. It's important to us because, it's where we live, it's where everyone else lives. We want to do good by them. As far as the event space, the main focus is probably most likely going to be weddings, but I don't want to limit myself because there's so much more available to do on the property. Like I said, we have an 8-9 acre lake on one side and a 5-6 acre lake on the front, or pond on the front side, and there's just trails. There's a lot of fun to be had on that property, and like I said, I've had endless amounts of people ask me to have weddings there, this, that, and the other thing, and I just want to do it the right way. That's why I'm here in front of you tonight.
Okay. I understand the place you have is a very beautiful place back there. Did you say you've been back there, right?
I did. I drove by your place. It's gorgeous, and congratulations. It's very nice. Let me ask you a quick question.
Certainly.
How do you intend to house people? Are you gonna house them in the brick house that you just redid? And how many rooms have you got?
There's 9 bedrooms.
How many bathrooms?
9 bathrooms.
Sure.
14 fireplaces. But I'm not trying to, what I propose is for weddings, it's 3 floors. The house is approximately 11,000 square feet, give or, I'm not for certain. But the bottom floor has got 4 bedrooms, a wine cellar, a gym, and a big game room. And I intend to use that as a staging area for bridal party, whoever it may need be. But as far as the house, that's gonna be pretty much off limits, for the most part.
So where do you intend people to stay, in a trailer or what?
Well, mostly my intention is for weddings first and foremost. So they're just going to come in from out of town. Destination weddings, because as you know, all the different wineries and such around the area are booked for 2 years in advance. And they have places to stay, whether it be Farmville or Appomattox.
So you indicated that your son is a kind of a jet setter chef, I guess, right?
I am that
Oh, you're
person.
the one? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So do you intend to do restaurant? Are you gonna be restaurant?
Well,
too?
we have a barn on the property that I intend on renovating. I'm in the process of renovating and cleaning up. It's a beautiful old barn. You probably saw it when you drove by, where I want to put in a commercial kitchen and do cooking classes. Me personally, I had my career as a private chef has taken me all over the world with.
That was you. I thought that was your son that you met.
I wish. No, I'm not. No kids yet. Yeah, do it.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
That old.
But the question I would ask, and I guess I need to ask you, you say that this is an Airbnb. Now, it's more of an event center. This is the second one we've heard. One wanted 1,500, you're saying, well, maybe maximum 1,800. Is that different? Does that require a different kind of an SUP than an Airbnb, or, I mean?
We have what's called a bed and breakfast in a list of special uses in an A1 zoning district. The Airbnb is a short-term rental, very similar to a bed and breakfast.
So that would cover an event center as well, then?
Well, he's asking for 3 things: Airbnb, bed and breakfast, campsites, and the event center.
That would all be covered under one SUP?
One
correct?
SUP, yes, sir.
Okay, all right, that was my question.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna handle the road situation? I mean, I saw you had 2 entrances, one with an iron gate, one with a wood gate.
Exactly.
What are you gonna do? Is this gonna be off the property? I saw your property on the other side where all the hay bales were.
Right.
Is that where you intend to have the people?
No, sir.
Oh.
Like I said, I've got, for sake of argument, to say 400 acres. 200 acres on one side and 200 acres on the other of the road. Where you saw the wooden gate, I can go straight across into a field that's completely level. I could park 1,000 cars there. And I've spoke to,
That's across the road?
yes, sir.
All right, I saw that. Okay.
Yes, sir. And I spoke with VDOT and he was, let's go.
Okay. All right, that answers my question. Very nice area.
Thank you very much. Done a lot of work on it the last 2 years.
How many people are you looking to entertain?
On average, or what am I requesting?
What are you requesting?
1,800.
Okay.
Do I ever see that happening? I mean, that'd have to be a really interesting event, but one never knows. I don't want to limit myself. But something to that nature would require a lot of work, preliminary work and whatnot to get done, you know, with accordance with the police department, the fire department, something like that. And those would not be happening every weekend. Like if that happened, well, I'm not gonna sell myself short, but when it happens, we'll deal with it at that time. But the property could handle that easily.
Okay.
How many events a year?
You know, truthfully, we want to just run the season from April until the end of October. So what is that, 25 maybe weekends? And I'm mostly shooting for the weekends because that's when most people want to have these type of events. But if it allows itself to have a smaller event during the week, and like I said, once I renovate the barn and set up a commercial kitchen in there, you know, I'll be doing cooking classes and maybe like private dinner parties using local produce, local wineries, and trying to bring farm to table.
The reason I'm asking is I think we had another person wanting to come in here and do 1,500 people. I think what we did is we limited them to 4 times a year, didn't we? Something like that? Or
Yeah.
We asked
Yeah.
them. So, you know, would you be?
That could be, I'm negotiable with that. I mean, you guys are gonna tell me, but I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's just that you're in, not an event center.
No.
It's a plantation that you're creating an event center out of.
Right.
The last 3 that we passed ended up being 1,500
Yeah.
people, so I mean.
Yeah, that's something that, me personally, I wouldn't necessarily want that many people on the property. And Karen definitely doesn't want that many people on the property, but if we had some sort of like charitable event or something like that where it opens up to that, you know, if I'm limited to, you know, 4 or 5 times a year, I'm completely open to that as long as we can have that.
That's something we'd put as a condition?
Number 8.
Yeah.
And that's what's my question to Nikki. Is that condition 8 just for festivals, or does that limit him for his wedding?
That's just for
events
the
also?
large festivals, anything over 200. In the last case that was approved by the Board of Supervisors, the recommendation by Supervisor Davis was to impose the same conditions that were actually passed on Mr. Burmaster earlier this year. Any event over 200 up to whatever amount is determined, he has asked for 1,800. I think there's 2,000 in here. It was decided upon at the Board of Supervisors in the last approval to limit it to 1,500. So any large event over 200, so 201 up to the capacity that you put to the conditions would fall under condition 8, and then the events per year. So I think it was 4 at that last, for large events over 200.
On average, I would have to say that what we're shooting for are, you know, weddings or some type of celebration of that nature. On average, like probably like 300, 400 tops, you know, but I just want the availability in case we do, you know, come into something special that they can be allowed.
Well, if he was 1 over 200, again, that's 4 times a year, right?
Yeah, that's actually in 8M.
Yeah.
That was just placed there.
Would you be amenable to that?
You're saying that I could only have 4 times
If
a
you have
year?
anything over 200, you would be limited to 4 events of those a year.
I would like to see that, you know, opened up a little bit, because, you know, if I have, that's only 4 weddings, you know, I got a friend of mine that's getting married in October. He's gotten over 200 people coming to his wedding. So, I think the average size, mean, would probably be, you know, on an average wedding is 150 to 200, and that's going to be the crux of the business. So I would ask for maybe some sort of special allowance for more than 4. And my closest neighbor is probably quarter mile away. And the one after that, the top of my hayfield, the one after that is probably half a mile away, if not more. So,
I don't remember exactly the conditions, but it seems to me that if we were differing conditions for him, wouldn't we be opening ourselves up to a
Yeah.
situation with the others?
Also, we need to have a traffic impact report too, I think, with that much going on.
I have.
Have you had that checked?
Yeah, that's in his application, yes, sir.
Okay,
VDOT signed off.
okay.
Yes, sir.
It's just a lot, you're having a lot of activities that we're not set up for right now.
Right.
You know, we're only doing so many per year, and I think that's a problem, what we're looking at.
Well, as I'm to understand, I don't want to get to a place where, you know, I'm having, you say the different activities. If you guys look at me, it's just weddings, and all of a sudden I want to have, you know, a jazz. You know, I've worked for a lot of like very, very, very famous musicians and whatnot. And let's just say they wanted to come over and have a little Sunday, you know, something, and jazz on Sunday or something like that. You know, I don't want to be told I can't do that concert. So I open myself up for as many things as I can get under that are within the realm of the business itself. You know, hospitality.
I mean, I think personally, if you're doing weddings, if you can only have 200 people or more 4 times a year, that's definitely going to limit you. I mean, I think you're definitely going to need more than that. What that number is, I don't know, but
Asking for an increase to 400 minimum before we start imposing the 4 times a year? Was that the number you had in mind?
No, I didn't have a minimum on the weddings. I mean, excuse me. I would just like to know that, you know, me personally, you know, it's my property, it's my land. I love my peace of mind. I love the quietness of everything. I don't really want to have more than 200 people, but I need to know that the option's there just in case, because, you know, like I said, all the wineries, all the different locations around here are booked for 2 years in advance. And, you know, a 200-person wedding is hell of expensive for that person. I mean, it's extremely, so I don't really see that happening too much unless, you know, Daddy or Mommy Warbucks comes down from DC or something like that. But
you don't want to be limited to 4 times a year.
I don't want to be limited, exactly.
So if we kept in.
I'm going to be, truthfully, I will probably be truncating that. If someone comes up to me and says, you know, I want to do a wedding for 500, I'll be like, you know, because it's a lot of aggravation, it's a lot of stress.
Hard to publicize that as well, if you're limited to a certain amount of times you can do that. The safety restrictions, I think, in the SUP application or in the conditions say anything over 200 people, you have to notify the sheriff's department.
I already made that a point in my application that.
So even if we increase the threshold to 400 or whatever number that was agreeable, but we kept in that safety net there to still have the police officers respond to 200.
Absolutely.
I just would like to add too, if you go back to condition 8, maybe this has been taken just a step too far. This is strictly for any other festival events that he has. This is not for the weddings. So if he has a concert, a wine tasting, a music event, that's where, because it's musical or entertainment festival, a wedding would not by definition fall under that. A musical or entertainment festival, but not limited to music, car shows, live concerts.
That's what I was asking earlier, if that applied only to
Apologize,
festivals or just.
So that would be covered. We'd be okay with that?
Right, the setting a limit on events would just limit the musical or entertainment festivals that fall under this, not the wedding or life celebrations. Unless you'd like to add it, that's completely up to the planning commission. They focused under the problems or the opportunities and challenges fell under the concerts and those live venues. That's really where the focus was, to have more of a traffic plan and working with the health department,
We
Department
didn't
of
limit
Emergency
their,
Services.
if they were having weddings, you know,
Did
I'll
not
tell you
limit the
what,
weddings.
I'd move the same, I would move that we do the same thing for this gentleman. I don't know if you, quite honestly, I don't have a problem with it.
Anybody have a problem? Danny?
So what you saying, like 4 large events?
No, if he had 4 large events would be the musicals, the car shows, the whatever, anything other than a wedding.
Yeah, not counting a wedding at all.
Right. That help you out?
That helps out, I believe.
So you'll cook us a dinner?
Sure.
Okay.
Isn't that sort of like bribery? Conflict of interest.
Johnny, you have any questions?
No, I've been listening. Y'all doing a good job.
Okay. Okay, if we're okay with that, let's have a motion, whatever the commission decides on.
So I move that we go ahead and accept move this on to the Board of Supervisors with the condition that any live.
Public hearing. Public hearing.
I'm sorry, public hearing, my fault, public hearing. With the condition that anything other than a wedding would be limited to 4 events a year with a maximum of 15 or 1,800?
Well, the last 3 we done 1,500, so I would say we stay the same.
1,500.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Okay?
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and second to move this on to public hearing. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Johnny?
I agree.
Thank you, Johnny. Okay, passed.
That'll be a public hearing August 22nd at 7 PM at your next planning commission meeting. 7 PM.
Okay.
The next case is 22 SUP 317. Landowners and applicants are Rodney and Terry Banks. They reside at 568 Mountain Vista Road, Scottsville, Virginia. The property information for this case is tax map 9, parcel 69. It does have 2 acres, and it is located at 15681 South Constitution Route in the Slate River Magisterial District. It's currently zoned A1. The applicants wish to obtain a special use permit for the purpose of operating an Airbnb bed and breakfast and just 1 dry campsite. This applicant is asking the Planning Commission to schedule a public hearing for this request. Would it be the wishes of the Planning Commission to set a hearing date and time, August 22nd at 7 PM? The applicants are with us this evening in the.
Could you come forward, please?
Good evening.
Oh, go ahead.
My name is Terry, and this is Rodney Banks.
Okay. How large is this area that you're planning?
2 acres.
I thought I read it in there, but I just wanted to make sure. And it's on Georgia Creek Road?
It's actually on Route 20, just right above Georgia Creek.
Oh, so it's not going down Georgia Creek Road?
No, sir.
Because I was saying, that's a terrible intersection right there, and I just wanted to ask that question. I saw you had approval from the.
Yeah, it's just up the road. I don't know, it's not even that far from Georgia Creek Road, but it's not on that road.
Okay. Is it up towards Scottsville? Towards Scottsville?
It's in that same area. It's like a rock's throw.
In front of Mr. Hedgeman's house?
Oh, yeah, you know.
Across the road.
Yeah,
I know him.
that's my uncle.
Okay, okay. And so you'll have a small camping area?
Just one. We'll set up, we're in the process, but it'll be only just one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any question?
Yeah, and I was down there. Is your driveway roped off? Is off of 15? Is that where you?
No, it's not that one that's roped off.
There's a white house back in there.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the one. It's now white because we've been working on it.
Okay, so is that where you intend to have your B&B?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, so, okay, fine. And then the campsite, I would assume, is next to it? We saw it. How do you get into that? Or where do you enter?
It's a driveway. If you're not looking, it's go straight up the hill.
Okay, so it'd
So
be
it's 2
extra out.
driveways.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay, all right.
It was actually almost in front of Curtis's house.
It is.
It is.
Okay,
It is.
I know exactly where you're talking. Okay, nice little area.
That is, yeah.
Driveway's already approved too.
Yeah, they approved it. Any more questions? Anything? Anybody? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we go ahead and have a public hearing on the, 22nd?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to move this on for a public hearing. All in favor, raise your right hand. Johnny?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, you approved.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Okay, Nikki.
The next case for introduction is case 22 SUP 318. The landowner is Buckingham County. The applicant is Atlantic Investment Corporation. Tax map is 138, parcel 15. It does contain approximately 99.6 acres located in Industrial Park Road, Dillwyn, in the Curtisville Magisterial District. It is zoned neighborhood commercial. The applicant wishes to obtain a special use permit for the purpose of constructing single-family dwellings, residential housing to include townhouses only, and a community center. The applicant is asking the Planning Commission to schedule a joint public hearing with the Board of Supervisors to hear this request. There are 12 conditions attached to this. Would it be the pleasure of the Planning Commission to hold a joint public hearing inviting the Board of Supervisors on August 22nd? Mr. Ted Lloyd, who is the applicant with Atlantic Investment Corporation, is here this evening to address questions, comments, and concerns.
Okay, Mr. Lloyd, can you come up? So this is not just a request for the planning commission and the supervisors. We can ask questions and decide on it, right?
It's just an introduction. The applicant is asking, just as in a couple of other cases, for a joint public hearing, and Mr. Lloyd's available to answer questions regarding his development concept.
Okay.
At this point, I want to point out my misinformation button. I've heard more misinformation up here tonight about this project, so I figured I'd put on this and contribute to the misinformation. I am for the project. The entire Buckingham County's been inundated with false information and very poor research that's been done surrounding this project, and we will debate that at the public hearing. But as for right now, I'd like to just go ahead and say I'd like to not request a joint hearing. I'd like a straight up hearing with the Planning Commission. I think
Okay.
the County of Buckingham deserves it, to hear everything, and everybody that I wanted to bring today, I told them not to come because I didn't think it was going to be an opportunity to voice your opinion. So I shut everybody down and told them not to come today. But hearing everybody's opinion earlier, a lot of the stuff that I heard was about things from like Brian Davis about erosion and sediment control. That's all part of the permitting process. We bond it. Peter, I addressed your bonding that you requested last time. Within 2 days, we had someone ready to issue the bonds to cover that, to protect the county, and we plan on continuing that throughout the entire project.
Yeah, I want to get into that with you a little bit, but thank you.
Okay. All in all, I live in Fairfax County. I hate it. I sold my farm down here. I have seller's remorse on that. It's 250 acres that I love. I'd like to retire down here in this particular subdivision on one of the larger lots. I've had a couple people, one still remaining here. I'm not going to point that person out. A few people come up to me today and say, hey, I'd really like a smaller lot to live in Buckingham. I don't want a big piece, big acreage. But I think that can all come out during the public hearing. When we originally approached this whole project, we thought we were rezoning. But 7 years ago, a unanimous vote, including Mr. Allen, I believe, decided to slate this particular parcel for development. And a unanimous vote to make it NC1, and that's the direction that we were heading anyways. And I'd like to see it continue with the same enthusiasm that the Board of Supervisors had 7 years ago, and get this project to the next level and approved. So thank you, and as far as the joint hearing, let's just do an individual hearing. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Open for questions right now?
Yeah, I would say either now or at the public hearing.
I can't guarantee I can have the information to answer them, but I'm open.
So I just need to understand why, in the conditions, there are a couple of pages that are missing. Do you intend to complete those? In other words, there's an affidavit in there that says that anybody in the voting booth for the county has no financial interest in your,
Have that in there.
I didn't see it in the conditions.
There, it doesn't have a completion. This was reviewed by our,
And there's also a VDOT, there's a VDOT document. that needs to be
VDOT,
complete.
we did a lot of phone tag, and
I can imagine that you did. I'm just curious to find out that those will be in the conditions.
yeah,
They
yeah,
should
they
be there
absolutely
before we
will.
have that
And,
public hearing.
Yeah, VDOT
We did
is,
before
they,
public hearing.
some woman
Yeah.
stood up here and said that Maxi isn't qualified to do the study. VDOT dictates what study is to be done, if any at all. And all Maxi does is says it falls into a particular category, like all civil engineers do.
All right. So, and that zoning change actually took place 7 years ago, Danny?
Yes, I kind of forgot about it, but they said it happened in August of 15.
I have the
But,
minutes, I have the minutes of the meetings and all that. Do you want them?
So how does that
You can give
affect, I mean, we've got Tiger Fuel. I don't know if that's part of that same.
No.
No.
And
Tiger
and
Fuel's
the
B1.
John Deere.
The
that-
John Deere's still a M1, and the Christian school is still a M1. In the back part where the, as far as what I saw on the GIS map the other day, back part where they're doing the tractor pull, it's,
Okay, let me ask you just a couple of questions. This, in the contract, you've got a minimum tax value increases is met, Exhibit D, page 2, other, you know, it says basically if that minimum tax value is met, there won't be any, there will be speculative sales of lots at that point in time. You'll be allowed to do that, all right? That's according to your contract, okay? So my question is, what is that minimum number?
Well, I don't particularly recall that, to be honest with you, it's phrased exactly like that, yet the minimum that is guaranteed in increase in tax base is 15 million.
Okay.
That's the minimum.
So that's your understanding of the minimum before you could do any speculative sales?
I based on the people that I'm working with right now, the lots will be sold in large sections of which development must start right away. So I don't think we're gonna run into too much of remainders of lots. The things, one of the things that I ponder is when someone comes in and says, I wanna buy 2 lots and build a house on one. That's something that I'm kinda stuck with. Do I do it or not? Because that is speculative in nature. You're correct.
Right. I guess my question would be, if we were to add some sort of a condition that suggested that you would not be able to sell speculative to a speculative builder, would that be something objectionable to you?
As long as it didn't.
Again, I'm not trying to negotiate a contract, I just
No,
asking.
no, no, it's something to ponder. Absolutely. Am I open to it? Absolutely. Off the cuff, I don't know how that would be structured, but yes.
Yeah, I'm not negotiating, I'm just asking. So let me just, thought goes forward here. You got people that live in big cities that may wanna come here to Buckingham.
But they can't come from New Jersey or New York, according to Mr. Brickhill.
Well, my point being that I don't care if they're coming from.
Or Charlottesville, I'm
or
sorry.
Charlottesville too.
Or Charlottesville, I forgot Charlottesville. Hoity liberals from Charlottesville.
Richmond or all those other.
That's right.
Yeah,
None of that.
Question I would ask you is if they come from a city that has amenities, all right? I can't imagine they're coming to Buckingham to shop or to go to a bowling alley or a bar or live entertainment. I don't know what you think would draw those people here to buy a $450,000 home.
Well, there are a lot of reasons people would come here. One is to get away from places like Northern Virginia. I've received calls from a retired gentleman who wants to move here, and his wife wanted to actually join. You know, it's funny that I'm up, not even really that I am up against it, but there's a closed thing called Citizens for Better Buckingham Schools, and that's where all the misinformation is being circulated, and no outside information is allowed in because it's a closed group. Yet the teachers in Buckingham County actually will benefit more than probably most any other group in Buckingham, the teachers and the schools from this. And this retired gentleman who called wanted to come here, and the wife's a teacher who wants to continue teaching. So that's just one example. And said, where are you with this? And I said, we're in the stages of getting approvals and whatnot and getting it over the hurdles. It's a good project. It'll bring a lot of good new talent, teachers, medical professionals, probably architects and maybe a couple lawyers. I don't know if we need any more of them in the world, but probably a couple
The
of them
question
too.
that I asked you last time about the bond, and I appreciate, believe me, I appreciate you jumped into that. I mean, Mr. Wright told me that basically it was 2 days after we asked that you jumped into it. And what, unbelievably appreciative. The question that I did ask you, though, is in the event, in the unfortunate event that you were not able to complete this thing, right, would that bond cover cleanup and finishing? And I know that you said it would cover the amenities, but I'm not sure that it would cover any kind of cleanup or anything else that'd be left in the unfortunate event that you could not fix it. So, I mean, that, again, I'm not negotiating, I'm just suggesting that maybe $500,000 wouldn't do it, you know what I'm saying?
Well, erosion, you're talking about erosion and sediment
I'm talking
control
about
in sections.
Cleaning up the
Well, if
timber
it-
areas, whatever.
It would be left,
Sure.
in the hypothetical situation, it would be
hypothetical
left
situation.
in nice grass fields and.
Well, so long as
for
they
the
were
growth to
nice
catch up
grass
with-
fields, that's what I'm saying, you know, I just would,
What's wrong with I'm saying if one section sold out beautifully and then interest rates shot through the roof. Let's look at that hypothetical. Interest rates went super sky high and it slowed down. We'd have an area where there'd be grass fields and sewer and water installed waiting for either interest rates to drop or demand to catch up and moderate where the purchases of homes would work again. Back in the Jimmy Carter days, interest rates for homes were 13, 14%.
remember?
Yeah, and somehow or another, homes still were transacted. I don't know how, but I was just a youngster at that point. But we've lived in this miracle interest environment for quite a while here. And right now we're at, what, 5.5%, probably going to 6.5%, 7%. When I was in the mortgage business, I was selling mortgages like they were going out of style at 7.5%. That was just 20 years ago.
I have a constituent that wrote me and suggested that there are a lot of places in Buckingham that were developments that still have open lots, some of them as far back as 25 years. So again, there's a question as to whether or not this thing can even be completed. I mean, logically, people are wondering, and I heard it here tonight, I guess I have the question myself, what would make somebody come to Dillwyn to buy a $450,000 house when we have no other amenities?
Well, first of all, just getting out of the big cities and having some amenities that were there, such as the pool and the clubhouse and whatnot.
You're gonna have, if you have kids, you gotta understand, I think you gotta understand what's being pictured in people, my mind as well. I got kids. I can't imagine myself going into a neighborhood and having my kids know that there's a clubhouse and a pool, and basically that's all there is, other than maybe going to high school and coming home at night. I don't see the attraction. I just don't see it. I think there are a lot of people that don't see it.
That's not for you to see, to be honest with you. That's for the purchaser to decide if he wants to come.
All right.
Okay?
That's fair comment.
Plus, there's hunting and fishing and hiking and all sorts of other things to do in this wonderful county.
Totally understand that. All right. I've
You
had
good?
questions. Thank you.
I think we need to get into this at the public hearing, but some good questions raised, why people is gonna come in to the county for this. You know, it's just, that's what the public's asking, and that's what we need to resolve to make everybody happy. And also, I was looking at a traffic impact, the capital impact, and the bonds. I think we'll talk about this at our public hearing. Maybe we'll get a better handle on this. We need to, on those, at least those 3 or 4 things, if we can.
That's fine.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
So maybe we can be ready to talk about that at the public hearing.
I'll do my best.
Great,
I'll have facts.
okay.
Can we add any conditions in now?
Yes, you sure can. Conditions can be added, amended, deleted, changed, whatever you see fit, Mr. Cruz.
I think I'd like to add a condition that there could never be any government subsidized housing in the development.
Can I second
please.
that motion?
No,
Second it? All right.
No.
Because that's not the intent of this development at all.
okay.
There's another place I could do that if I wanted to.
Okay. Please keep your comments down, please.
Motion's been made, right?
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, good.
The motion is to have a public hearing. Nikki?
Motion
No,
is
no,
to
no.
add the,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Add.
Yeah, to add that to.
condition.
Condition
I'm
added.
fine with that. That's good.
Now, next step. I need a motion to move this on to public hearing for just the planning commission.
So moved.
Well, I got a question first, Nikki. Could we possibly not do that on the same night that we're gonna have Dominion doing it at the same time?
Well, typically what has happened in the past, whenever we've had cases where we've had 7 and 8 public hearings in the evening, because remember, our applicants have turned in their complete applications in a timely manner. So even sticking to the traditional 4-month process allows them to move forward with planning and things of that nature. So, I mean, it would almost be penalizing one applicant due to the other case. I'd say that the request before you was a joint public hearing. If that has been rescinded by the applicant, at this point, everyone has made statements that they like to stick to the process as it is laid out and move forward with the planning. I mean,
Okay.
I know it's a lot,
Steve,
it's a big night, but you can.
You can
move forward
ask
with that.
to have them start the meeting early.
That
Instead of
may,
7, if the planning commission agrees, you can start it at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, move it up to give time.
okay. That sounds like a good suggestion, Johnny.
Mr. Chairman?
Uh-huh.
Would it be possible to move this off till September? And then that would give us all additional time to do some diligence on it, right? Okay.
I think that's what Nikki was saying she really didn't want to do, but I mean, if we could do that.
This is the decision of the planning commission. So you have enough information, Mr. Dory, or you said that you felt like more could come out at the public hearing and you'd have a larger discussion then. So where do you want to have the discussion, after you actually hear from the public, to hear more of their comments during that time period where you can hold a public hearing, address the situations, comments, and concerns from the public, have Mr. Lloyd and his development team address those?
But could we do that in September?
Then you'd be tabling this for a month.
Okay.
I'd make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion to table this for an extra month and bring it back in September. It's been seconded. All in favor of this motion, raise your right hand.
And
Johnny?
Are you tabling it to a planning commission public hearing or
Yeah.
a joint public hearing?
Planning Commission.
Okay, I don't know if I understand what the motion is.
We're going to table it till September to a Planning Commission meeting, public hearing, Johnny.
So you're delaying it 30 days to get it past the September, so you're actually having a public hearing in September?
Right, that's correct.
Okay.
You vote on that? Oh, we hadn't voted. Okay, we have voted, okay. How do you vote, Johnny?
I don't agree.
Okay. Okay, you opposed to, anybody else opposed to it?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Timing is not too bad right now. We'll get the information.
Okay. So it's 4-3? Okay.
So it'll be
Pass.
September.
We'll see you in September. Well, we'll have a public hearing in September.
All righty, we'll see you then.
Okay, sorry.
All right, it's fine.
Okay, building permits report?
Building permit report is included for your review, and I don't have anything for the zoning administrator report this evening.
Okay. Okay, I guess I need a motion to adjourn.
Don't move.
Second.
All in favor of adjournment, raise your right hand. Johnny?
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Steve, thank you for taking the meeting. You did a fine job.
Thank you for being here, Johnny. I hope you feel better.
Thank you a lot. Appreciate it.